Right, I just wanted to take a pause and a little bit of a breather and reassess how I'm doing here. I've had a little bit of a go at this bench here, and this part is pretty much all cleaned up, and it cleaned up quite nicely. Get my shadow out of there. And that cleaned up pretty good. And this part here is all cleaned up of old varnish, and you can see a bit of the problems I got there. Well, problems is all subjective. What's happened there is I've burnt through the first layer of plywood. I didn't know it wasn't solid wood until I started sanding through it, but you know, I presumed it was plywood. You can kind of sort of tell as you go through. Now, this part is where a lot of the varnish was already sort of peeling and kind of gross, and some water got underneath it, so there's quite a texture there, especially as I got closer to the second layer. There it's quite burnt through as well, and you might say, well, what's the point of doing that? That's not going to look good. But once that gets 3 coats of polyurethane on it, that's going to look fantastic. And it's going to be consistent with the overall aesthetic for the entire boat, which is going to be a lot like those distressed custom jeans you can buy for $200 off the rack or more, or they even make electric guitars like that now. The choice is to sort of keep it, you know, as it was, which is that. And there's the full light on it. That's what it is right now. This right here, this is really, really wet. It's really, really wet, and that's due to dripping from the hatch above, which is its own little project. It needs being fixed. But I mean, I can't leave it like that. That doesn't look good at all. But this, when it's cleaned up, it's not going to look new. It was never going to look new. After the first day it was built, it was never going to look as new as that. That was never the point. The point was to make it look clean, to make it look good, to have it overall sort of being somewhere where you want to hang out. And that's exactly what it's going to look like. This here, no big deal. This is all going to go away, and I think what I'm going to do is get something like a 120 watt light bulb. I use very little power on these. These are just low wattage LED bulbs. But if I got like a sort of hotter light bulb to kind of put on that, dry that as much as I can. Because right now as it is, I can't even sand that. It's too soggy to sand. You can see it kind of like just sort of tears up as you kind of scratch at it even. So that really, really needs to dry out. I'm going to put some of my little dehumidifier desiccant drying pads on there to try to dry that out, and then once I come back I'll put a little some sort of heater on it. I need a little heater, or I think the high watt bulb ought to do it as well. That's where it is right now, and I'm taking these videos for anybody who wants to watch them, but 100% for me, because I like to remind myself that there was a start to these projects where things looked like that instead of looking at least like that and then better. It's going to look great when it's done. But I forget that sometimes as I go through, and I lose steam, and I forget how bad it originally looked, and sort of the goal of getting it to look pretty awesome, which it will do.